So guys, did you come up with this idea who originated the idea? Was it you?
No, well, I mean, it was both of us. We were in Montreal Airport after the Canadian Grand Prix in 2018, and we were talking about documentaries, and we obviously Damon thought Senna was pretty good. I think we both thought Senna was pretty good, and then he said
pretty good. Wasn't
it was very good, and he said, "Well, you know what? Mine's not a bad story." And it went from there, really. And 7 years later, here we are.
That was 7 years. I thought anyway. It's took a while. We had you've made how many sports documentaries since we came up with the idea?
3.
He's made 3 in the interim.
So yeah.
So this one dragged its heels. It was a bit difficult to get it over the line, but it's done now, and he's done a fantastic job with Alex Holmes, who's the director. Joe's a brilliant director. So. He's been very modest.
No, he's very good. And our editor was did McQueen, the documentary, but Alex Holmes he's the guy that's kind of pulled it all together. And it's just been a real kind of labour of love for everyone involved, really, for a long period of time. So it's great to get it out there.
There's a lot of labour, I know that.
Yeah.
Well, I really liked it, and what I liked most about it was the honesty of it. Damon, did you understand just how much honesty was going to be required of you?
Well, I had some idea because the point of the story was to be able to express what can't be expressed when you're actually racing. I did write a book a few years back as well, which kind of was quite open about me personally. But I think what they've managed to do with this film is they got Georgie's story, my wife, her version of events, sometimes different to mine, but she was there too. The story is about what happened with my dad, and also her meeting me, and then us having a family, and then Formula One coming along, and what it's like to be in that environment, especially when you have really serious events taking place, such as took place at Imola when we lost Roland Ratzenberger and my teammate Ayrton Senna. So there's quite a lot of serious tension, I think, that she describes, which doesn't normally get discussed or talked about in a normal sports film. It's usually the individual who does the racing.
Well, there are many people in sports who've had amazing careers, but it's all been fairly straightforward. This, for me, was the least straightforward of all sporting stories I think I've ever come across. There was so much drama, and the film came across to me like a drama. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's so good.
I mean, that's great. Very nice of you to say. I think we always set about this being like number one, a family story, because it's such a compelling family story, and obviously the racing it's obviously there, and it drives the story along, but the family story does as well. So everything that Damon had to go through, from losing his father and then having to take the family out of having nothing really, and coming back to win the world championship like his father did on a couple of occasions. They kind of mirrored each other, their careers, in some strange ways. And I think that hopefully it has played out of a drama, because we wanted to do that. We had to leave quite a few people on the cutting room floor, as you said. We only wanted to tell it through Georgie and Damon, because they were the people that absolutely lived it. And therefore, and that's what I think Alex has been so clever in differentiating it from maybe a normal sports documentary, which is just all
I was going to say that. I think this is so much more than just a sports documentary. Can I tell you what it reminded me of?
Go on.
The Godfather.
Oh, hey, I tell you what, that's high praise.
Your dad was Don Vito and you were Michael. You fought it, but you couldn't fight it. You got dragged back in.
I like that comparison. We've never had a criminal activity in our family. I just want to make that clear. So we are not mafia. But you're right. There is some element of, the father and son thing in there, which is powerful. It's a very powerful force, isn't it, in everyone's life? So that is explored, I think, brilliantly by Alex, who directed it. So yes, I agree with you. Maybe there's going to be an Godfather 5 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right way up to Hills 6.
4, isn't it? 4, yeah.
And one thing that I noticed, and I've noticed this before, and I think the answer is fairly obvious, but there's so much footage. Race, motorsport people are tech heads. So as soon as the technology arrived, they bought it. They bought the Super 8 cameras. They bought the High 8 video cameras. And so in other sports, that footage doesn't exist, but it seems like every racing driver has got all of this footage. And I was going to say, it's all there in the documentary, is it? There was so much good stuff.
We've got George's stuff in there, have we?
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Well, that was that. I mean, you'd mentioned that there was there's some footage in there, which is George Harrison's footage, and you're absolutely right. He loved the gadgets. He bought the stuff as well, and he was there when I was racing in Adelaide in '94. And he was around there filming so he filmed so much of everything else that he didn't actually film himself. But he liked playing with the gadget. And you're right, they do like to leap onto a new toy if they can get one.
I think if there's one thing I'd like to get across for people from seeing it and from talking to you guys, is that this is not a documentary for petrol heads. It's for everybody. It's about families, and it's about fathers and sons. And yes, there's some fantastic motorsport content, but it's not just for motorsport people, is it? At all.
We didn't want to make that film, but I work in Formula One. Damon's worked in Formula One, been involved in Formula One all his life, and as much as we love it, it is a story that kind of transcends the sport. As much as Ayrton Senna's story was about him, it didn't have a happy ending. This one, to some extent, we don't want to give it away, but it does, and that's because it is something that we hope will have universal appeal. We never set out to make a techie one. It's got bits in there, obviously, the traction control, the start of '94, and getting rid of all of that kind of stuff that Ayrton suspected was still on the Benetton and stuff like that. So there's bits of that, but there's mainly family, yeah.
And so much previously unseen footage, so much that we haven't seen before.
100%. That's what we spent hours trying to dig it all out.
Cinzia.
Yeah.
What's the last?
Cinzia Baldassari. Yeah.
Baldassari, Cinzia Baldassari. So the editor, one of the editors, Cinzia Baldassari, she had,
The editor.
The editor. She, poor girl, had to sit through everything, all my home film footage and everything else as well that I'd got on DVD and on VHS, and so hours and hours and hours of pouring through stuff, and there's loads of stuff that didn't go in, obviously, because it wasn't relevant. So it's all been beautifully put together to make this story about our family and the backdrop being everything that happened in my career in F1. And the blend, I think, of the two things makes it much more powerful than just watching a motor race.
There were a couple of moments in the film that were special for me, and I think it's going to be different for everybody. Quickly, they were hearing Murray's voice. I knew Murray. At one point, I felt quite emotional just hearing his voice. And then the other bit was where the camera quickly moved, and all of a sudden Barry Sheen was there, and to me that was very special. I know it was obviously special to you, but is there a moment in the movie for both of you that's a special moment within it?
Yeah, I think, well, for having watched it now in a theatre with a real audience as well, because we went to another film festival, but it was really heartening that people responded to it in the way that it was hoped that people would respond. And so I think everyone will have their own particular bits that move them, but there are lots of ups and downs and things that are pertinent and personal. For me, it is just watch. For me now, I'm moved by the reaction of the people who have seen the film. I've lived all the events in there. I've kind of experienced them anyway. So, but yeah, even watching it today, I still get anxious watching myself racing. So, yeah. What about you, Simon?
Fine. I mean, the way that it builds at the end. We all know that Damon wins it in 1996. But there's just some bits that are kind of framed against Damon's childhood and his dad that I think kind of when Lorne Balfe's score comes in, and I mean it's throughout the thing, but it kind of builds to a really kind of tearful climax. I hope everyone enjoys it.
He's been in tears.
I've tried, yeah. It's a shame that, and I've seen it about 20 times. So I've helped with it. So yeah, it's good. Look, we're very lucky, privileged to be able to tell the story because it's such a good one, and there's not that many better. And I certainly in the history of Formula One, I don't know anything that's quite as kind of Shakespearean.
No,
so
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, that's a great point to make.
Yeah.
And thank you both of you. If I made one point again, just to end with, it's a documentary that's more like a drama. If you wrote it, people wouldn't believe you. But the best thing is, it's true. It all happened, as you both know, and it's a fantastic documentary. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.